Hello everyone and welcome back to Kinsley Custom Guitars. Today we're doing something that's not quite guitar related but still could be interesting. We are going to modify this little no-name condenser microphone by changing out the board inside of it with one of these. This microphone came in one of those start podcasting type kits, and it came with one of those silly little sound mixer boards that you could plug like different phones into or music sources, and it had those cheap sound effects preloaded into it. But the thing with this condenser is it only works with that board. I tried it with a regular 48 volt Phantom and it doesn't work at all. It only works with that board and it sounds pretty terrible. So today I figured I would try putting this little $10 replacement board that I found on Amazon for large diaphragm condenser mics into this and see if I could get a halfway decent microphone out of it. So, and I'm not saying all cheap microphones are bad. This Xingyu, which isn't made anymore, by the way. I tried finding these again and they don't have them. But this one, I bought it in 2020 in one of those start podcasting type kits for running video game streams, which is what I was trying to do during the lockdown. And this thing sounds amazing. This cost me $35-40, and it came with a boom arm, a shock mount, the foam plosive cover, like everything you needed to get going. And it sounds freaking amazing. And I've actually done some vocal narration work with it with very good results. So I'm hoping that by replacing the board in this one, I can at least get a similar sound quality to this one, because I have compared these two side by side running through the same presets and everything, and this one just sounds amazing and this one sounds very hollow and tinny. The thing that led me to do this is you go ahead and you open up this microphone. That's all the circuitry that's in it. That is it. I don't think there's anything in there that is capable of handling the 48 phantom volts. So, and I thought, well, that's weird. So I opened up this one. And this one, while not amazing, certainly has a much more substantial board inside of it. So I figured that obviously is probably what's keeping this from sounding somewhat like this one. So we're gonna put this back together real quick. Goes to the notch. All right, so what I figured is since this microphone only cost $20 in that little kit, it was on clearance at Sierra Trading Post of all places. I figured $20 microphone, $10 replacement board. I'm in at $30. If it works and sounds great, that's awesome. If it doesn't, I'm only out $30. So to start, we are going to need to desolder out this old board, and it looks like just need to pull these off. There's those. Need a small screwdriver. I thought I was prepared for this video. 1 second. So let's get this out. That is not doing anything, it's just spinning around. So that complicates things a little bit, but should be able to work around it. Solder wick. The tiny board is out. So there's the little itty bitty one that came out of it. It's like 2 resistors, a small cap, and a transistor. That's it. So let's get this guy out. And I was doing a little bit of test fitting earlier. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get... Yeah, I'm not going to be able to use this for sure, because it's just... there's just not quite enough room in this particular microphone to use that header, so I think I'm going to desolder it. And they did not do a good job of cleaning up after their work. But it's whatever. So the screw holes also don't line up. So this is probably going to have to be hot glued in place. Which is okay. It's just going to be a cheap microphone. So that's probably going to go about there. It can't. It has to go the other way. So there were absolutely... oh, I forgot to zoom you guys out, sorry. There we go. So they're going to get sandwiched together like that, and that's going to be the basis for the new microphone. Looks like positive and negative headers are right there, which will be red and black respectively. And then the pinout for the XLR, I'm not 100% sure on. So let's see if we can reference off of this one. Should have just left this open. Okay, so we've got 132. And we've got 1, 2, 3 on this board. So let's go ahead and start by seeing if we can get this header off. Maybe I should leave it in and see if the plastic will come off. Okay. So I'll leave the header in, but take the plastic off and just solder to that header, because that will be much easier than trying to get it into those holes. All right, so one is black on the other board. And I just realized as I took in a lung full of solder smoke, I don't have my little fan going. So let's get the little fan going. 2 is red on the other microphone. Do this the same way we did last time. Get a little solder up on the pin. All right, that takes care of that header. And we're going to go ahead and clip the remainder off. Yeah, we're just going to cut it rather than trying to depin it. I don't know what's up with this solder that they used, but it is not melting. It is just heating up and flaking off. So that's, that bottom one's 3. So one is on the right, and it does have the bridge, which we just took off, so that must be ground, which makes sense. And I gotta try and clear off some of that crap. Okay, so I need to put that bridge back, but I don't want to use that piece of crap, little bitty piece of metal they had in there with all that crap solder on it. Let me see what I got. Just use a little bit of lead line from a pickup wire, a little hookup wire. Just take the shielding off. Oh yeah, burnt plastic. That's the smell of life right there. Alright, I have helping hands somewhere. Where are my helping hands? They would be incredibly useful right now. You guys ever have that thing where you know you've seen something extremely recently, and then when you when you need it, you can't find it? That's what's going on here. So let's do it this way. Get a bigger piece of wire that we can manipulate. Or I guess that's easier to manipulate. I'll say it that way. You know what? Probably should have left the cloth on one end so I can hold on to it longer. This needs to bridge 1 and 2. So that's those two. Alright, it ain't pretty, but it's there. Just double check the reference. Alright. Again, it's not pretty, but I think it'll work. Alright, so 1, which is black, goes over here. Oh, this is going to be a nightmare. I need to do it with the board in. Alright, so board in. There it is. Alright, so black to the one we just soldered. I think some pre-tinning of these wires is going to help immensely. That's attached. Let's see if I can grab these wires from this side and pull them. There we go. There we go. It doesn't want to go in now. That shifted. Great. This is really hot, by the way. In case any of you guys were wondering. Now let's make the microphone connections. Get a good blob of solder on those pads. My gosh, this is obnoxious. Red to positive. Ow. Not sure if you saw that, but I definitely just burned myself a little bit. Black to negative. All right. The board is semi-officially installed. At least the soldering's done. So now, since none of the screw holes line up, well, these two do, but they're not drilled because this was a cheap microphone. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some trusty hot glue. And we're just going to get a dab right in there. Just glue those down. A quick shot through there. And then do the same thing for this board. Making sure that pin header lines up. Down nice and tight. Alright. Well, for better or worse, it's together. If this thing works, I'm going to call it the hot glue microphone, I think. Just clean up some of this excess. Alright. And line up the notch. Alright. It's together. So let's go test it out. Alright, everybody. Here is the control that we're testing against. This is the Xingyu BM800 microphone. Ran through GarageBand, and I've got a stack of an equalizer, compressor, and a couple other things just to give you an idea of what I usually have this microphone set up for vocal narration work. All right, this is a test of the XO Poppy podcasting microphone setup. I have it running through the sound card it came with, plugged into my MacBook, and I am using my standard vocal narration presets in GarageBand. All right, and here is the microphone that I have dubbed the hot glue microphone that we just swapped out the control board in. I did also include a snippet of something I had previously recorded with the microphone through its interface. And I gotta say, just listening to the monitoring back, it already sounds a whole heck of a lot better. Possibly better even than the Xingyu. I am going to listen back to this now and then apply a little bit of EQing to get it set for this microphone. And then we will come back to this and take another listen. Okay, so I messed around with the EQ and I couldn't really find a better EQ than the one I already had set up for the other microphone. So I think it sounds a little bit richer than the other one did. I'll do a little bit more side-by-side comparison and then we'll get back to some video with my final thoughts on this whole project. Welcome back. So what did you guys think of the upgrades to this microphone? I thought that of the two, like they both sound very comparable. This one has a much better bass response than this one does, leading my voice to sound more resonant and present, but this one has a very natural sound to it. And anybody who does anything with microphones will definitely tell you that no mic sounds the same as any other mic. Every mic fills a different role, and you use different mics to achieve different sounds depending on what you're going for. So I like the variety that this has added into my small but growing collection of microphones. I do really enjoy this microphone, and I would definitely recommend for any of you guys who have the soldering know-how to do what I just did, to pick up a cheap condenser microphone and get the board that I got, and I will link to that in the description below. But definitely get that board and put it in that cheap microphone and see what happens. I am pleasantly surprised by the results here. I wasn't expecting it to sound that good, but it definitely sounds really good. And it might make it into the rotation for microphones that I use on a daily basis. Drop a comment below and let me know what you think of the difference between these two microphones, both before I did the upgrade and after the microphone upgrade. I don't know if I'm going to do it to this one because I like the way this sounds, but I would definitely not be opposed to picking up another one of these cheapy podcasting kits and doing the exact same swap, because for 30 bucks, that is an amazing sound. Just a little bit of EQ on it, and my gosh, it's good to go. So hopefully this is helpful for any of you guys who are getting into podcasting or streaming or vocal narration work, like doing audiobooks or something like that, and are trying to do this on a budget. This is going to be an absolutely killer mic for anybody starting out with any sort of vocal performance work, singing, anything. This is going to be a killer mic for that. So definitely let me know down in the comments if you liked this video. Give me a thumbs up. If you disliked the video, thumbs down. Subscribe if you want to see more content. I don't publish regularly, but I'm trying to get better at that. So this has been Kinsley Custom Guitars, and I hope you guys all have a great rest of your day. Take care.